Okay, we are live. Now, to start off tonight's show, I would like to do something a little bit different, okay? So, here it goes. L is for the way you look at me. O is for the only one I see. V is very, very extraordinary, and E is even more than anyone that you adore and love. That's right, this evening I'm talking all about love. So if you have ever been frustrated by love before, then stay on to watch. Good evening and welcome to the Luke Bong Show. I'm your host, Luke Bong, and this is episode number 6. Now, this show is all about empowering you to achieve emotional freedom so that you can live your life freely as well as be in control of your emotions at all time. Now, I want to really thank you very much for joining me on this Friday evening, because on this Friday evening, I know there are lots of things that you can do, but you choose to be here and spend it with me. So I'm going to do my best to make sure that this show will be beneficial for you, okay? So thank you so much. Now, for those of you who are new to this show, I want to say thank you and welcome to this show. Now, this show is broadcast live every Friday at 8 p.m. on both YouTube Live as well as in Facebook Live. So before we continue, I just want to quickly ask you to please help me to share this so that your friends who need to learn this, all right, they'll be able to benefit from it, and I would really appreciate that. And also, if you find that this show is something that is useful for you, please help me, all right, by giving a like as well as a love, the heart shape there, yeah? So that will really help a lot. Okay, so now what is tonight's show all about? Well, to begin, I'm going to share with you what is the reason why I made this show. About last month, okay, I was actually attending a course, and during that time, I met a very successful gentleman. So he came over to me and he asked me about what I do, and then I told him that I'm actually an NLP trainer. So he pulled me aside and he asked me if I could give him some advice. So I asked him, so what is it that you need help with? And he told me it was his relationship with his wife, because they were actually heading towards a separation, a divorce. And he really loved his wife and he wanted to save the marriage. So I asked him a few questions. And the first thing in my mind was, did you cheat on your wife? I think, come on, let's face it, all right? That is like perhaps the number one reason why marriages break down. But he said, no, he is a very faithful man. In fact, he works very hard, he loves his family, he cares for them, and yet the wife did not feel loved. That's strange, right? How could it be possible that when you put your heart there and you really commit yourself to the relationship, and yet your lover or your parent or your children or your friend or your boyfriend or girlfriend, they felt as if your heart is not there? Something must be wrong there, right? And the funny thing is, in that relationship, both partners, they are committed in the relationship. It's not like, they are cheating on each other. No, they are very committed to it. So why is it that these things still happen? So one of the things that I would like to point out to you is that there are lots of the times, right, is that people do not understand about how people fall in love or how people stay in love. So I want to share with you a story that I heard many years ago when I was still active in Toastmasters. So one of my friends there, he started to share a story about Mr. and Mrs. Tan. See, Mr. and Mrs. Tan had been married for over 50 years. They would be what you say as a very successful marriage, okay? Everyone look at them and everyone would be so like that. So on their wedding anniversary, Mr. Tan will bring Mrs. Tan to their favorite curry fish head restaurant in town. And without fail, they would order Mrs. Tan's favorite curry fish head. So as per their usual practice, they sat down and they started ordering. A while later, the curry fish head came. And this time round, as Mrs. Tan was about to take that curry fish head, suddenly she paused. And a tear began to fall down her face. Mr. Tan, of course, was very, very worried about it. And he was like, "Dear, what's wrong? Are you sick? Okay, is everything okay?" And Mrs. Tan said, "No, dear, everything is not okay." And Mr. Tan was shocked. I was like, "What's wrong? We are at your favorite restaurant. We are eating your favorite curry fish head. You should be happy. Not many people can be together for 50 years. I mean, come on, be happy." And Mrs. Tan, with tears in her eyes, said, "In 50 years, you don't even know that I hate curry fish head. We are here every year because it's your favorite dish, not mine." Now, this story, although it was meant as a joke, okay, we can all laugh about it, but I find that very often a lot of relationship is like that, whereby we love someone the way we feel that we should love somebody. And the truth is that we are very sincere. Okay, we are sincerely trying very hard to please them, trying very hard to really give them our very best. And yet, our very best seems to be never enough, right? And sometimes that is when people begin to feel frustrated, or people begin to feel like, what's the point of loving? What's the point to continue? Why don't we just give it all up? But deep down in their heart, deep down inside, they know that that's not what they want. In fact, what they want is they want to save the relationship. Now, I hope that as you are watching this, don't just think that we are only referring to romantic love, okay? No, it's not, because there are so many different types of love. Parents with their children, that's love there too. Between siblings, love there too. Between friends, that's love as well. So love can encompass so many things. It's not just romantic boy-girl relationship, okay? So tonight we want to explore how we can actually crack a person's secret love code. Because once you know the secret love code, you will be able to love that person in a way that is going to really, really mean something. Now, how on earth did I come to know about this secret love code? But before I tell you that story instead, I want to share with you how do people love, okay? And to do that, I need to invite someone, all right? I have a very special guest today with me in my studio. If you were watching last week, you would probably notice that last week I was in a hotel doing that. Today I'm back to my studio and I got a special guest for you. Listen. Okay, thank you, Michael Jackson. All right, so as the song goes, all right, it's the way you make me feel. Okay, it's the way you make me feel. It's the way I make you feel. And that is what is the secret code of love all about. Now, so how on earth did I actually find that out? It all happened when I first fell in love at that time with my then girlfriend, Pei-Yun. Now we have just been married for 17 years only. Okay, so at that time we were driving. I was driving her on the road, and we were just like together, just went steady. Yeah, I don't know what got into me, and I asked her one question. At that time, I felt it was a silly question, but now I feel like that is like the smartest question I could ever ask. And the question goes like this. You might want to take a pen, a paper, and write it down. Okay. And the question that I asked her is, are you the type of girl who wants to meet every day, or do you prefer to meet like, say, maybe 3 times a week? After I asked that question, right, there was an awkward silence in the car. At first, I was a bit worried. I was like, did I ask the wrong question? I mean, I don't have experience, okay? I didn't know if I'm asking the wrong question or what. Well, after a while, she replied and said, I'm the type that I would like to meet every day. And because of that, I began to realize like, okay, So the way to get her to feel love is if we meet every day. It doesn't have to be a long time. As long as we can meet a while every day, she would feel the love there. And even when I go traveling, there are still ways for me to meet her every day. Because then I know, because why? She has mentioned that to me. So over the years, I begin to realize that people will only feel love the way they feel love, not the way you give love to them. So if you feel like, for example, a lot of people nowadays, they work damn hard, They work from morning to the evening, and they do things like they go out, they work, all right? They take second job, third jobs, so that they can earn a lot of money because they want to provide for their family. They feel that by doing that, they are able to show love to their family. But the thing is it really what the family members actually want from them? So for all you know, right, all the hard work that you have put in outside when you are working and things like that, the very person that you want to love may actually feel like you are not caring. You are not there for them. And then you begin to feel frustrated about it. So coming back to my first story when I started about the man who actually was on the verge of separating from the family, from the wife, I asked him this question. I said, I know that you love your wife a lot. And I know that you are a very honest man. You are a very honorable person. But does your wife feel loved that way or not? And he got stunned. He was literally stunned for a while because he told me, I don't know, I've never thought of that question before. Something to think about, right? So in order for us to love someone, we must know how best the person needs to be loved. And then you do that very thing. So I think it is all about us human beings, okay? Our tendency to actually judge others based on their behavior and particularly how they make us feel about them. And when we do things that actually make them feel bad or make them feel unhappy, then guess what? The love will begin to fall down, no matter what you do, no matter what your intention is. Now, let me just give you a crazy scenario, all right? Suppose that I'm the type of person that I'm very messy, okay? And for me, my desk has to be in a mess. Sometimes, right, there are some people whereby messiness is actually good for them because when they need to do something, they need to find something, they know precisely where to get it, right? Are you the type? Okay. So just imagine for a moment, yeah? If let's say when you, one day when you come home and suddenly your desk is absolutely clean. It has nothing on it anymore. And then you are looking for something, you are frantically searching high and low, but you can't seem to find anything. Wow. What do? Do you straight away say, I'm sure my wife must have very helpfully tidied the table for me. Oh, she loves me so much. Oh, I feel loved so much. Or would you probably be shouting your head off and says, who cleaned the table? Who have messed up my table? Okay, so probably the second one is more like it, right? So when the person who was the guilty party came and then the guilty party begins to say, all right, so what's wrong? Okay, I'm sure our default behavior would be we'll probably just shout at them, okay? But we have, at that moment in time, we totally forgot about their positive intention and why they wanted to help us in the first place. Okay, so let's not feel guilty about it because that's our default mode, unfortunately, all right? It's easier to judge a person's behavior than to step back and to actually try to understand a person's intention. So, knowing that about human behavior, I would like to suggest to you tonight, okay, about how you can find out about a person's, their secret love code. And once you know about their secret love code, what you can do in order to actually please the person, to make the person happy. You see, before I go into that, you might be thinking, I'm doing a bit of mind reading here, yeah? You might be thinking, if you are the only one who just give in love, and the other person just take in love, That's not fair. I don't know whether you thought about that, but I want to share with you that when you actually give to the person the way they feel truly loved, I'll have to warn you, because they will show you so much of love because they are fulfilled. It's that powerful, all right? No kidding. It's really is that powerful. So what is the secret there? The secret is to ask. That's right. It is to ask the person. When was the last time you have actually asked someone, how do you feel loved? Or are you like most of the, I would say 99% of the human population on this whole planet who actually just, I know this will make her feel loved, or I know this will make him feel loved. Come on, all right? I mean, we don't have that telepathic ability. The best way for us to know what is a person's, their secret love code, is by asking them. So how do you ask it? Very simple, So hang on, let me just do this because I think my Facebook page has got stuck already. Okay, so how do you actually ask this, right? Well, very simple. Have a heart-to-heart talk session with a person, and what you need to do is just go and ask them and say, what is the best way for you to feel loved? How do you really feel loved? Pause, wait, and listen. Take down notes even if you want to. Okay, because just by you asking that question, sometimes, all right, that can be a very, very powerful moment. A powerful moment in both your relationships. All right, so Wesley, all right, thank you very much for joining, Wesley. How are you? Okay, so when we talk about this ask, okay, you want to go and ask. Because everything is starting from asking. You cannot just assume what somebody wants. You need to go and find out from them. What is it that they want? Now that we know it is about asking, then the next thing that you probably want to look at is what are the ways that people will feel love, okay? And fortunately for us, it is covered in 5 letters. And the 5 letters are V, as in Vietnam, A, as in Australia, K, as in Kenya, O, as in orange, and G, as in Ghana. Okay, so I call it as VECOG. Now, VECOG is actually something in NLP that is a short form for something that we call as submodalities. Yeah. Now, what exactly is this VECOG submodalities? It is how a human being perceives the world. So you see, how do we interact with the world? How do we collect information from the world around us? We do it from our senses, our eyes, from our visual. V stands for visual. From what we hear, auditory, yeah, that is what we hear. From how we feel in our heart as well as feeling on the body, there is K, kinesthetic. Okay. Next, we also feel from our smell, O, olfactory, and also from, a lot of people, they love to eat, right? Taste, G, gustatory. Now, it's not important for you to memorize all of these things. These are good to know. But more importantly is I'm going to share with you right now the specific strategies that you can use in order to find this out, okay? Let's start with the first one, V. Now, visual. When it comes to visual, right, when two lovers for the very first time, okay, what they try to do is they really try very hard in order for them to just please the other party. What they do is they actually go and, dress up nicely, really clean themselves up and all that. And the next thing you know, after the relationship has gone on for a while, suddenly people don't bother about taking care of how they look, okay, or they leave the house in a mess. Now, tell me, if you're in a relationship, are you the neat one or are you the untidy one? And how do you feel when your partner, say, if you are the tidy one, right? How do you feel when your partner just leave the room to be untidy? Do you feel love? I doubt it. All right, so that is why some people, they need to have the visual part, because if we fulfill their need of the visual, the things that they see with their eyes, okay, they will feel the love there. So that is one of the examples for V, okay, visual. Another thing would be like, for example, during certain specific, say, birthdays, anniversaries, and things like that, all right? So people who are visual, they will also prefer to receive presents that are like wrapped up nicely, beautifully, colored, etc. Okay, because for them, it is very important. Now, if you find that's not important, chances are you are not the visual person. Okay, you are probably the other four, not the visual one. Okay, so moving on to the next one, which is auditory. Now, auditory here means listening, right? You see, think of it this way, right? Have you ever had this situation whereby someone come and talk to you and the tone of voice that they use is not your favorite tone? So maybe instead of saying, "How are you?" they say, "How are you?" There's a big difference, right? Or maybe like, "I've cooked something for you." "I cooked for you already. Eat lah." Makes big difference, you know. Okay? For people who are very sensitive to the tone, to the words and all that, it plays a very big role. Okay? So if your partner or if your child or if your parent or if your siblings, your best friends, etc., is someone who is more sensitive to sound, chances are they are more attuned to the auditory side. And if they are more attuned to the auditory side, guess what you can do? You will probably need to, or you can probably, alter the way you speak. Okay, alter your tone of voice. That will actually make them feel love. Now, moving on to K, kinesthetic. Kinesthetic is touch and feel, right? So when it comes to touching and feeling, this has got to do more with like how you hold a person, how you hug the person. You know, sometimes, right, there are children who needs to be hugged. But sometimes some parents just felt like you are adult already, you are a teenager already, there's no need to hug anymore. Or sometimes it's the other way, or it's the opposite way. Well, if you know that the other person, their love strategy is kinesthetic, then you need to figure out a way of how to actually make them be able to feel it. Maybe a massage after a hard day's work. That's lovely, right? Or maybe just give them a good tight hug. Or maybe give them a kiss on the cheek. Okay? Or just do certain things that will make them feel really appreciated. Now, that is for K, kinesthetic. Okay, so the last two, olfactory and gustatory, that one has got to do with smell. Like for, some people, they are very, I think they are very sensitive to smell. Like they have a very particular perfume that they like, okay, a certain smell in the house. You know that, all right? If you put a certain type of smell in a room, you can actually create a romantic ambience, or you can actually calm a person down. All right, there is a specific field of study that is known as aromatherapy, whereby you can use aroma, which is smell, to create a sense of love, a feeling there. And finally, okay, that is the G, gustatory. Now, gustatory here is the taste, right? So I know here in Malaysia, we are all probably too guilty of that, okay? Whereby we just have too many good food to eat, and because of the good food to eat, what happens then is, well, I think we overeat. Yeah, we tend to overeat. All right, now, so before I continue to the next part, I just want to very quickly ask you, all right? Do you have what is your favorite or your own love strategy? Out of the visual, the auditory, the kinesthetic, the olfactory, and gustatory, how do you feel love best? Okay, let me know in the comments, all right? Let me know in the comments. Okay, so let me know in the comments, and then I will be able to answer to your comments, all right? So let's have a chit chat like that, yeah? Now, personally for me, I am a very auditory person. So I like it when my wife talks to me. So that's why I find that I always have conversations with her, and when we talk to each other, we will share a lot of things, okay, with one another. And that is the way that I actually feel love. All right, that is the main way. There are many other ways as well, yeah? Okay, so that is the VAKOG. Now, what I want to share with you is this, right? You might be thinking, yeah, is it true or not? Or this is a bit too superficial? Well, I'll tell you one thing, yeah? Imagine right now that you are trying to press the button in a person and you have been pressing it wrongly all the time. All right, you're pressing it wrong, 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 wrong. And then you are like, come on. And you press even more. You try harder to press even more. Still not working. And then you begin to bang it, bang it, bang it, bang it, bang it. But you know what? Even though you are working so hard, even though you are really trying to do all of this, you know what happened? The thing is, the person will not feel it. Because why? Your effort does not touch that person's way of feeling love. So if you want to become successful in this game called love, what you need to do is start by asking and finding out how the person feel love best. Okay. Now, I want to just close today's session, right? Today is just quite a short session. Just want to close today's session with another story in my life when I discovered that how important it is, okay, that when you do something in the name of love, especially, all right, in the name of love, how important it is, yeah, that you really find out what the other person's their feeling of love is before you continue doing further. Okay, so I was just about I think 21 or 22 years old at that time. So that means it's about 20 years ago already. So I met my wife at that time, girlfriend, and what happened was I was introduced to a network marketing business. Now, I wasn't qualified. If you have been following my show, you know that I was a college dropout and my salary was very low. So one of my colleagues introduced me to one of the direct sales company, which is no longer around nowadays. And she was telling me, you know, you love your girlfriend so much. I'm sure you want to marry her one day. You want to give her a good life. So what you should be doing is you should be actually, dedicating your energy, your effort, etc. to building this business. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. So I started to, go all out. I invested money into it, money that I didn't have. Okay, so I just invested into it. And I started to go and look for prospects, started to do sales, started to trying to get people to join. And then I told my girlfriend, I told Peiyun, and I said, why don't you go and help me, get your friends, all right? You don't have to do the sales talk if you are not comfortable with that. Just invite them and I will do all the talking, okay? I will do all the talking. Well, I find that 1 week passed and she never introduced anyone. 2 weeks passed and she never introduced anyone. And in my heart, I was like thinking, here I am, I'm working so hard, I'm trying to create this future for us, but look who's not working. I was really frustrated. I was also beginning to get angry. And that was like the only time I've ever gotten angry with her. So I sat down with her and I told her what is in my heart. And she looked at me and she said, but that's not what I want. That's not what I want. And that was a real shocker for me because that was the moment where I began to realize that I was actually doing so many things thinking that it was to love her. But to her, that meant nothing. So I went back home. At first, it was quite hard to stomach because, come on, I have spent a few thousand ringgit already. I have dedicated a few weeks of my life towards building it. But then I began to realize was, what I really wanted was something, but it wasn't what we both wanted. I don't know if this is making sense to you. I hope it is, okay? Because after that, it literally changed the way that I approach how I love her. Because today, or not even today, back then, all right, I started to love her according to her love strategy. And that has been working pretty well, all right? I'm a happily married man. So I really hope that, this story, the point of the story is that, you love someone using their love strategy. Again, the love here is not just romantic love. It can be parental love. It can be friendship love. Okay, it can be co-worker love. It can be love to your boss. As difficult as that may sound. All right, so as long as you know how to find out the love strategy of a person, you will always be successful in love. All right, trust me on this one. As long as you know how to find the love code, all right, the secret love code of someone, you will always be successful in love. Trust me there. All right, so very quickly, just want to sum up. You can only love a person effectively the way they want to be loved, all right? Not how you think they want to be loved. And the best way for you to find out how they want to be loved is by asking them, okay? Asking them, find the right environment and ask them to tell you how they wish to be loved. What is their way that they prefer to be loved? And I have covered the 5 VACOG: visual, auditory, kinesthetic, olfactory, and gustatory. So these are the 5 common ways of how you can actually, reach a person's heart, and that is what you can do. So I hope you have enjoyed tonight's session, and tonight's session is just very brief. It's just about half an hour, and I hope that you are going to have more success in love. Whether you are finding love or whether you are experiencing love for the very first time, or maybe, okay, you are trying to rekindle a love that was on the verge of collapse, okay, because it's really worth it, it's really worth it, yeah? Okay, so next week, I have a very special guest because I'm going to bring Miri's very own expert in body language. Yeah, I'm going to be interviewing Mr. Peter Lim, who will be here, who will come onto my studio to be interviewed, and we will be talking about the power of body language, okay, and how it can actually power your self-confidence so that you can go and really, go and crush it. Okay, so thank you very much once again for joining me. I hope you have found this episode useful and helpful. As always, all right, I ask that if you have enjoyed this show, like my page so that, every time when I come on live, you will be notified immediately and you won't miss a single episode, yeah? So if you check out my page as well, you will also be able to watch the replay of the previous 5 episodes. And so far, we have covered on topics like, for example, self-sabotaging behavior. We have talked about depression, okay, how to deal with depression. And then we also talk about insomnia, okay. And last week, I had a guest interview, Nick, okay, where we talk about stress, okay, and how do we deal with stress. So next week, join me again on Friday at 8 p.m. here on Facebook Live as well as on YouTube Live. And the topic is all about the power of body language. So thank you very much. Good night, everyone. Have a wonderful weekend ahead. Bye-bye.